To start off this video, I want to say that I do agree with Drew Afualo, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, when it comes to who you are friends with and who you are acquaintances with. In my past, most of the people I dealt with, unfortunately, were Republican or, Republicans pretending to be Democrats. And I don't mean Republicans that were kind of in the center, I mean like far right. So going forward, I'm choosing to be around Democrats, and specifically Democrats that are pro-choice, that support LGBTQIA, that support BIPOC, that support women, that care about the environment. That's who I'm choosing to have in my life in the future and in the near future. Now, as far as the 5 days I spent in the hospital are concerned, I want to go back to that. There were two physical or occupational therapists that I remember that I really liked. One was a guy and one was a woman. And the woman, she had a dad that had a nursery in Los Altos. And I do believe that she also played the flute growing up, and that she attended Lynbrook High School in San Jose. I'm not entirely sure on that. But it was just like amazing having her for my physical therapist or occupational therapist. I could talk to her about things that I could never talk about with other people, and that meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to me. And as for the male physical therapist, I know this is going to sound weird, but it was literally like if you froze NFL player manager Ryan Tolner in time in 6th grade and like made him 6 feet tall. It was uncanny how much this guy looked like a 6 foot tall version of NFL player manager Ryan Tolner. Ryan Tolner being this person that I sat next to in elementary school, 7th and 8th grade, and like whose family pretty much lived around the corner from my family. And, his sister Sharon played baseball on the boys teams with my brother, and his dad, when NFL, Zach Waltz's dad wasn't my baseball coach. Ryan Tolner's dad was my baseball coach. But it was just like, I swear, I kept looking at this guy and I was like, he looks exactly like a 6 foot tall version of the 6th grade version of Ryan Tolner. And I felt like almost that we had the same kind of rapport that Ryan and I used to have. It was just so bizarre. I kept looking at him like, I know you're not Ryan Tolner, and I know like Ryan Tolner doesn't look like he did in 6th grade, and that, people's faces kind of change a little bit when they become an adult. But I just kept thinking this guy is just like totally a grown-up version, a 6 foot tall version of the 6th grade version of Ryan Tolner. And I wanted to talk about one funny kind of thing. At least it was kind of funny to me. Maybe not to him, but it was kind of funny to me. And he was just such a good sport. So when I was ready to leave, there was basically like a shoehorn kind of thing that I was going to get to go home with. And except that it has a wooden pole, so it's a little longer than just your average shoehorn in terms of it has that wooden pole, and then it has like the shoehorn thing on the end of it. And I was just determined to get my shoe on without that thing. And I just couldn't imagine having to use a shoehorn to put on my shoes. And it reminded me so much of my dad. And I understood why my dad used a shoehorn. I mean, he wanted to keep his shoes looking nice when he went to work. But it just reminded me so much of my dad, and I love my dad to death, and I always have loved my dad to death, and I will always love my dad to death. But I just was like, this is so my dad. I just can't. And I think I put it somewhere out of sight or something. And so then, like, the physical therapist or occupational therapist, like, took it, and I didn't know that. And so I tried putting on my shoes without that device, and I just couldn't do it. And I was just unhappy that I couldn't put my shoe on or my shoes on without the help of that device. And so the next time I saw this occupational or physical therapist, I said to him, I think that device has been stolen. And it hadn't been stolen. He just took it because I had put it out of my sight and was like, I'm just going to put on my shoes without having to use this thing. And I think he just understood, like, how determined I was and, like, how stubborn I am, in some cases, not all cases, but in that case, I was definitely stubborn. Um, and so I got it back, and I still have it to this day. I don't think I used it very long at all, but it does come in handy when you want to grab something that's like a few feet from you. So I still use it for other reasons, but I really just appreciate, like, just what a professional physical therapist or occupational therapist he was and is. He was just amazing. He was extraordinary, as was the other physical therapist that was a woman, who didn't look like Ryan Tollner, but that's okay. I did really appreciate the fact that I could talk to her about things that I don't get to talk to other people about. Or, that I really didn't delve into conversation with other people about. Like, I don't know if I should really say this, but I guess I'm going to. I think as I got older, my dad kind of tried to figure out where I was coming from more. And I don't know, like, I just have a real revulsion, I guess, for child, molesters. And, at one point my dad brought up a radio host that had been brought up or something on child molestation charges, or child porn charges. I'm not sure which, or if it was both or what have you, but I think the guy pled out to one felony or something. I don't remember, but my dad brought it up, and he talked about the guy, and I think he was trying to have a conversation with me about it, but it was just kind of like, how can I explain where my revulsion came from? Because I'm not even sure exactly how it developed, but it just did. And it's just another thing that really gets to me. I can't stand child, molesters, or child, pornagrapers. And NAMBLA, sorry, but I am not supportive of that, even if there was a poet among the group at one point. Anyway, kind of along the same lines, there was a point that I was considering attending Interlochen in Michigan. It's like a music and arts school. And my parents kind of steered me away from that and didn't really give an explanation for that. But like, I have to say that I'm glad they did, because it turns out that JEFFEPSTIN had links to Interlochen. In addition, I have family members that are, interlinked with Hollywood and Southern California. One of them does hair and makeup for like A-list celebrities and just celebrities in general. And he's done really well for himself, and I'm really proud of him. And I think he's just an awesome person. Just exceptional, and of course I'm probably biased because he's my cousin, but how could you not like him? He's got this TikTok channel that is so cool. It's something I probably would get in trouble for mentioning on here, because you're not supposed to do like at something or at someone. But it's just such an uplifting TikTok. And he's not straight, and that has really nothing to do with my support for the LGBTQIA community. Like, I've just always been supportive of the LGBTQIA community, even before I knew my cousin isn't straight. And he's out to the whole world, so it's all good. Anyway, so his mother, she has been someone that has been employed by Arsenio Hall as well, and she worked on the Gong Show, among other things. And she's written for a newspaper in Southern California, and she's done pretty well for herself as well. And at times I would ask my parents about Hollywood and Southern California, and they always kind of steered me away from that. They didn't go into great detail about why they felt like I should avoid Hollywood and, avoid Southern California. They did kind of suggest that there was some stuff that went on in Hollywood and, in Southern California that had to do with the kind of stuff that Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of. They kind of suggested that was going on, but didn't, use the name of Harvey Weinstein. So, I'm kind of grateful for them to that for that. Um, and my aunt wrote a piece at one point that kind of reaffirmed what my parents suggested, but not about Harvey Weinstein. And, I have the utmost respect for my aunt as well. Like, my cousin had her on a couple of his TikToks, and she's just such a strong woman. Um, I don't know if I should, like, talk about what she said in the TikToks, but I was just blown away. I was just blown away. I mean, I wish that I had had the strength that she has all my life. She's just always seemed to know who she is and doesn't apologize for it. And just an amazing, extraordinary woman. I will tell you that my aunt married my uncle. My uncle is the brother of my mother. And my aunt seems to be 100% Jewish. And I didn't know that until a couple years ago. And my cousin is half Jewish and half Norwegian. The makeup person and the hair person that's done really well for himself, that I'm just really proud of. And, his TikTok is based off of the fact that he is half Jewish. And I'm just so proud of him for embracing that too. Especially when the world has not been embracing that as of late. And in the last year or two, there's just been a lot more hatred towards people that are Jewish. And that's not okay. In my humble opinion, it's definitely not okay. And not just because my cousin is half Jewish and that my aunt is Jewish. It's never been okay to hate on people because they're Jewish. There's a lot of people that I went to school with, elementary, junior high school, that are Jewish. And, there were several instances of anti Jewish stuff that showed up on our campus, especially in junior high school. I just couldn't wrap my mind around that, and I still can't. Just why? Why did people or a person come to my schools and put these flyers in people's lockers that were so hateful towards Jewish people? It's just, it does make a person want to cry. Like, at least it makes me want to cry. It made me want to cry when I heard about it. I mean, I didn't experience it, and I don't know for sure that I have any Jewish blood in me because, like I said before, I kind of did some research on my family, and appears as if my dad's mother is at least 50% Jewish, maybe 100% Jewish. I don't know. I really don't. And by blood, I would only be, there's only a 25% chance that I would be the biological child of my parents, but that's not zero. It's still 25%. So I just don't know if I have any Jewish blood in me, but that's besides the point. The point is that the Nazis were supposed to have been beaten a couple hundred years ago. The gas chambers don't exist anymore, at least not like they did in Germany. I mean, how could you not be just completely disgusted by that? I mean, imagine your family members, your friends, your godmothers, your godsisters, your godbrothers, your stepsons, your stepmothers, your stepfathers, your stepgrandfathers, your stepgrandmothers, etc. Imagine them dying in a gas chamber. I mean, it's sickening. So when other people got those flyers when I was in school and I didn't, I'm just wondering how they were chosen. I mean, some of those people, have last names like mine. Or, have names that would suggest that they're not Jewish. And I think that there was some discussion at one point over the idea of people having a quote unquote Jewish nose. And I think that was discovered to be kind of like a false idea. Like that there is no such thing as a Jewish nose. Like there is a type of nose that people kind of have or whatever because of, just being passed certain genes or something, but it doesn't trace back to like Jewish people. It seems to have evolved like from European ancestry or something. I'm not entirely sure on that. I don't remember, but I definitely know that it was found that that whole idea of having a Jewish nose is just not true. Yeah, so I don't know how anybody was chosen to receive those flyers. And, the fact being that I might be part Jewish, why didn't I get one? Still, it's beyond sickening to be anti-Jewish. It really just, it does make me want to cry. It makes me want to scream, and I want to go back in history and I want to correct that, and I want to bring back all those people that ended up in death chambers. In gas chambers. I want to bring those people back. If I could time travel and go back and stop all that and bring all those people back, I would. In any case, I just think that my aunt is just an incredibly strong woman. She knows who she is. She's always known who she is. And she raised just an amazing son. And she should get props for that. She is an extraordinary mom on top of being an extraordinary woman. Her son just, like I said, he's incredible, extraordinary, amazing like his mom. Yeah, and there's a little bit of bias because they're my aunt and my cousin, but still, they are extraordinary people.